at Murrayfield. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Murrayfield. Live coverage almost upon us then for Dundee against Preston Lodge in the final of the Shield. But first, our reporter Iona Scott's been speaking to team captains Ewan Thane and Tim Parrott.
And does that give you more confidence that you've won the league already, got that wrapped up? Surely you must be on a high from that, or is it a separate issue?
I think it's completely separate because this competition's shown that there aren't really any favourites in any of the games. Our semi-final we just won down in Ardrossan. So really it doesn't matter that the big teams are pitted against the smaller ones. We'll just go in sort of confident of our own ability and hopefully do the job. So.
You're not worried at all that you, I suppose on paper, may be underdogs?
Yeah, I mean Dundee are definitely going into the match as favourites, but when you get on the pitch it doesn't matter. We've got a lot of players that played at a higher level, we've got a lot of experienced players, and there's players there that aren't going to be scared of Dundee. Definitely going to go and give our best shot.
Yeah, they're going to give it their best shot. Richie and Sean with me here in the studio looking ahead to that Shield final this afternoon. Richie, Dundee favourites, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think on paper Dundee are far and away the favourites. A good mix of age group internationalists. They've got a fair bit of foreign influence there. Jason Hewitt's the main man, New Zealand All Black at 9. And they've also got a bit of Irish influence as well. There's a lot of students come across for Belfast especially. Some good under-21 Ulster players there. So yes, I think they are without a doubt the favourite for this game against a Preston Lodge team that's made up of local East Lothian boys that will give their all.
Well, let's have a look at the two teams this afternoon, starting with Dundee. There we are. And Jason Hewitt, the former All Black, as Richie said, Sean.
Yeah, they invested some money to bring him over, and they mentioned that in the press, and he's done a fantastic job. He's organised them. He's got them playing rugby. There's a few old heads there. There are guys that I've played against. Dougie Gray on the wing there and Lamont at fullback. I mean, they've got that experience there, and they do play rugby, which is good. For Preston Lodge, you know, they're going to be really up against it to contain the outside backs.
Yeah, well, there is the Preston Lodge team coming up for you, Richie. What do you make of it today?
Yeah, well, as I said before, you know, it's a real local team there. I think Scott Gilliland there at 9 and the brother is on the back row as well, the twins, David Gilliland. They've always been in and around, and it's a real kind of Preston Lodge old boys set-up. I think maybe one of the main players, John Melvin at 13 there, ex-Heriots player, has seen some good rugby in his time, but they're going to really have to play, you know, for the full 80 Preston Lodge, I think, to keep this Dundee team at bay. OK, Richie and Sean, we're going to talk to you again at half-time. It's almost time for kick-off, though. Let's get to the first of our live matches this afternoon. Dundee against Preston Lodge for the BT Shield, alongside Scott Hastings. Good afternoon to our match commentator for this one, Jim Hay.
Thank you very much, Jim, and welcome to a very blustery Murrayfield. The sun's gone away, but I'm sure we'll get some hot action on the pitch this afternoon in this BT Shield Cup final. Preston Lodge against Dundee High School. Both teams, of course, playing in Division 3, and Dundee, the eventual winners of the championship. Scott, looking forward to a good game and a lot of action this afternoon. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement across in Dundee. You know, they've just been promoted into Premier 2. They've got an experienced team there, and up against it, however, you know, because Preston Lodge, they've brought a big crowd over from East Lothian. They're really up for it as well. It should be an exciting game. Remember, these guys are just coming forward to represent their clubs at Murrayfield. This is a great experience for them. OK, Scott, we'll hear more from you obviously throughout the afternoon. There's the referee in the middle, Graham Hanna from Kirkcaldy, as Preston Lodge start this BT Shield. Not the best of starts there from number 10, Murray Stewart. This goes out on the full. They'll be disappointed with that. Okay, a scrum back in the middle. Dundee High School. There he is, number 10, Murray Stewart. Dundee High School then with the first putting of the match.
Crouch and hold. Engage.
And Jason Hewitt, their coach and former All Black, to feed the first scrum. The referee just making sure that the shoulders are right. Both teams are going in straight. There's Jason Hewitt. So, good feet to the scrum early on. A pick from the Dundee number 8 there. Good ball early on, but knocked out of the hands there. Number 3 penalised from Dundee. Big Colin Whittaker just penalised there for going straight to deck. So the first line out through the match for Preston Lodge. And it's number 2, Jason Curry, to throw. Intended for the front, but just a little squiff at the back as down there goes Gilliland, David Gilliland that is. There's his brother, Scott playing 9 to Stewart. Stewart out to the midfield, that was number 12, Stephen MacDonald, with a deeper kick down into the Dundee 22. Number 14, Dougie Ray, just shepherding that kick back. A good early touch there for number 12, Stephen MacDonald, the 23-year-old.
It's going to be an interesting facet of the game. The 23-year-old alongside more experienced John Melvin there playing outside centre. John Melvin, of course, was with Heriots a couple of seasons ago, but moved to the Preston Lodge club.
That's a good take at the line up there. Dougie McLaren finds his man with a good first throw. This will be where Dundee will fancy their chances to take it up. A lot of power in their pack. Just set ball up once again. This is the pick and drive movement. Preston Lodge just trying to keep the defence as Hewitt picks and chips. Finds a bit of space there, but number 15, Greg Kinross, he's well held. In go the Preston Lodge forwards. And a scrummage, didn't get the ball to that. Held up. So the referee, Graham Hanna.
Let's come in the back door, please, guys.
So a turnover, really, in all intensive purposes, and a chance
Crouch and hold. Engage.
for Hewitt to feed the scrum once again, just on the 10-metre line of Preston Lodge. A pick at the back of the scrum. This is the number 8 there. Alan Brown trundles on, the former 18, 19 and 21 player for Scotland. Forwards take on once again. Hewitt to Gallagher. Gallagher, the longer pass intended, but missed out all the centres completely. In there comes number 11, Andy Kennedy. But he looks to have been turned in halfway. Preston Lodge turned over the ball. Scott Gilliland goes blind. Gilliland once again blind to Stewart. Slightly MacDonald on that occasion takes it up. You'll see Preston Lodge will try and play the blind. The kick charge down there. Bit of a ricochet, but back on the Preston Lodge side is taken up once again. Advantage being played as through the middle goes Greg Kinross. Good play by him. A thundering tackle coming in there from number 15, Mark Lamont. A tremendous hit by him, but a good early break by Greg Kinross.
Well, this was a super tackle here coming up. You can just see the position of it. There's the big hit, the step back in, boof. And such a feature of the modern game now, the big, heavy tackle. And Preston Lodge just under a bit of pressure there, but it was a good break there, first of all, from the Preston Lodge fullback.
Yeah, excellent break by young Greg Kinross, the 24-year-old. And that was Stephen MacDonald there that just flopped the ball down into touch. So we've got a line out for Preston Lodge. Just inside the Dundee 10-metre line. John Curry to throw. It was well taken by Preston Lodge in the middle there. And the drive comes round. Gilliland, number 9, Diggs. And number 3 there for Dundee High, Colin Whittaker. Just adjudged to have come round offside. The big tight head, fence up to trade. We'll have to make sure that he stays on side. There, number 13, John Melvin, with his hands on the ball there. As already said, played a couple of seasons at Herriot, so he's got first division experience. A Preston Lodge boy originally, played for Preston Lodge and went away further his career, and then he's come back. So good for him that he's come back and he's appearing in the cup final today. And he has the first opportunity to put points on the board. So then Melvin hands up a little in the wind, but doesn't go through the stick, so a missed opportunity there for Preston Lodge, but good early pressure for them. The restart then, half charge down there by number 3, Robert Murdoch. And a knock on from Dundee, so good early pressure from Preston Lodge. Not the best of kicks there by Niall Gallagher.
You do it again, it's a free kick. You're good for my call. Crouch and hold. Engage.
So Scott Gilliland to feed the scrum. It's his brother, it's in the back row, David at number 6. But that's a mighty shove there by Dundee. Gilliland tried to pick. Referee plays advantage. Gilliland, the brother, passes out to Stewart. Stewart. They bring in Melvin, the big fella, nudges off a couple of would-be tacklers to McDonald. McDonald round to Murray Stewart. Out to number 11 there. John Armstrong, number 11, the winger. Gilliland's in as they come open once again. This is number 4, Alan O'Brien. He trundles on. Gilliland Scott to Murray Stewart with the attempted drop goal. And that's short and wide. But that'll give Preston Lodge a bit of confidence, Scott. They're trying to get the bits and pieces together and they're getting a bit early possession.
Yeah, it was Steve McDonald initially with a loop around with John Melvin. This was Murray Stewart's attempted drop goal, but good thinking from the young fly half because he wants to get points on the board.
Well, the restart from Dundee, and that's an unforced error once again, straight into touch from the restart, so really they'll have to sharpen up on things like that.
Now that's the second error from Niall Gallagher. The first one, he just seemed to give himself no little room. It was half charged down by Preston Lodge. That one straight out in the full. Now this is a great attacking option here for Preston Lodge. I'm sure they'll have something planned from the training field for this particular attacking possession.
Well, you can see they've stacked their backs left and right as Gilliland feeds the scrum. The feint to go left, and it was Kinross coming in on the angle. Back inside to Melvin. He cuts and sets up on the 22. Gilliland once again. Back to Murray Stewart, the 10. He dances. There's advantage here for a penalty being played. So it's free ball for Preston Lodge. Gilliland picks at the base. He trundles on about 10 metres out. And the referee has decided to penalise them. It's a good early play from Preston Lodge. And what should, but they've taken it quickly. Gilliland to Murray Stewart, they're here to play to Kinross. Kinross, the ball just went loose to Stephen McDonald, so that really was 3 points of begging there, Scott.
You're straight in front of the sticks there. You've got to take your penalty. 3 points, Preston Lodge, but they decided to run it. I was a bit disappointed there with the referee's decision, Graham Hanna. He was a bit early when Preston Lodge still had counter-attacking possession. On that occasion, though, the opportunity slipped for PL to open up the scoring in this BT Shield final.
Well, back to the action. Jason Curry to throw. Overcooked it a little bit, went to Gilliland, however. That's number 7, David Scott, with his hands on the ball. As they set up a good ruck on the 22. Gilliland once again to Stewart. Stewart, the dummy to McDonald, on to Melvin. Melvin, he's strong and stays on his feet well. Gets over the gain line. Gilliland once again to Murray Stewart. Murray Stewart, this time out to McDonald. The offload again to Murray Stewart, but good harassing in defence by Dundee. Advantage once again. You'll see the referee's hand out. Gilliland with a dive pass. McDonald with the attempted drop goal. Charged down, and it looked like a sore one. And Scott, good early pressure from Preston Lodge. They're really putting the Dundee defence under a bit of pressure.
They're very keen to get this scoreboard clicking over there, aren't they? But there's good pressure there, good continuity there amongst their backs. I think the crucial point in this particular game is that linkage between Murray Stewart playing fly half, also Stephen McDonald and John Melvin in the centre there. Here we see the interplay. Now look at Melvin's strength. He gets right into the 22 here. Over he goes. They've perhaps used him a lot in the opening 10 minutes here. Stewart puts the ball through the hands. Good continuity once again. Again, McDonald offloading in the tackle. That's so important within the modern game. Keeping the ball alive. Dundee appear to be coming in the side there. But back comes the ball. Stewart has the pop. Goal, but it was an offside decision. PL with John Melvin with his penalty chance.
Yeah, the chance to open the scoring for Preston Lodge. The crowd tells you it's through the middle. The touch judges' flags are in the air. So after about 11 minutes of play in this BT Shield final, the scorers Dundee 0, Preston Lodge 3.
Preston Lodge there, they may be a division below Dundee, but they've come out all guns blazing, haven't they?
Oh yes, they've been playing outstanding. There's a few guys that have played at the top level. Kinross has shown his class. but I think if they keep this going, I think it could be an upset.
Yeah, well, the play's continued. Let's watch.
So words of wisdom from Derek Stark. He's used to running on that pitch on many occasions. Often the Rolls Royce of Scottish rugby, now a bit more like the Ford Anglia. He's parked in the garage now. But back to the action.
Derek Stark was telling me he had a few sausages for breakfast. That's what slows him down.
Well, back to the action. And the young hooker now, Dougie McLaren, the 20-year-old, a chance to throw. They've cut their line out, Dundee. A good ball off the top from Hewitt. Hewitt to Niall Gallagher. Gallagher, he brings the centre down the middle. His better play is to send it out wide. Out to the big winger this time. He's just got good continuity play to number 14. He could be over in the corner. An excellent early try from Dougie Gray, the solicitor from Dundee, and really that was excellent teamwork. They kept the ball alive out of the tackle, and Dougie Gray's over in the corner for the first try.
Well, this was the one clear bit of possession that Dundee have had in the opening game, so that's tremendous hands out of contact here. Up it comes, and the ball put through the hands, cuts through the defence, and the strength of Dougie Gray to go over the line. Good angle of running. Gallagher's pass, that was the spin pass there. The pick up from the fullback Mark Lamont. Lamont offloaded in the tackle. Back came Dougie Gray, and look him stretch for the line as the covering defence came across. Good try for Dundee.
Well, the chance to add the extras just goes a little wide, so after about 14-15 minutes of this BT Shield, the lead swings back into the hands of Dundee. It's Dundee High School 5, Preston Lodge 3. And I'm joined this afternoon by the former internationalist and British Lions, Andy Nicholl. Andy, what do you make of things so far?
Well, Jim, it's been a bit of a nervous start from both sides. I think they've taken to the occasion. You know, there's only a couple of players on this pitch who played international rugby, Jason Hewitt and JJ Van Der Esch. So I think there's nerves, and that's only to be expected. But it was a good bit of play from Dundee there to score. Mark Lamont, who was an usher at my wedding, I hasten to add, who made the initial range. So Dundee have settled pretty well with the first real good bit of rugby.
Yeah, it's not hard to see who's supporting this afternoon, Andy. Wearing the Dundee tie, of course.
Absolutely.
Well, back to the action. The kick-off from Preston Lodge, and Hewitt, he feeds once again to Gallagher. And he sticks the ball down in behind Greg Kinross. He does well, returns the kick back downfield.
Make a move. You're on.
And a good return there by Greg Kinross. Number 15, Mark Lamont. Just had to let the ball float into touch. So we have a line out. Just inside the Dundee 10-metre line. A good throw by Dougie McLaren and a good take at the front by number 5, Adam Russell. Once again it's picked and round the edges by Whittaker. Just sets up the ball, but a bit of loose feet there, but Hewitt did well. He gets the ball out to Gallagher. Gallagher to Kennedy. Then Tuzen in the line by Shannon Wilson. Advantage played once again. Taken on by the Dundee forwards. They're looking to get up ahead of steam now. And there's the penalty. Yeah, 13 from Preston Lodge, deemed not to have rolled away from that ruck. Dundee, Scott, looking to come back in the game now, getting the ball through, and they're offloading the ball in the tackle, I think.
Yeah, they are. They're also putting it through the hands very well. I think there's spaces out there wide if they start to look to go wider. Here's Niall Gallagher here. He seems to be the linchpin of Dundee. Of course, they won the BT Premiership Division 3 last week against Western Scotland. That's given them great confidence in today's game. And, of course, they are going in very much as the favourites for this particular game.
Well, Niall Gallagher didn't find his touch, and it's a quick throw by Dundee. He set the ball up just inside the Preston Lodge 10-metre line. Taken in by the forwards. Hewitt at the base there. And a penalty against number 1, Stuart Murray, just for fringing. Coming round the edge of the ruck situation. So PL will have to watch their discipline. There he is, big Stuart Murray. Looks as if he's had a few big meals lately. Played in the cup final for Kelso back in '98, so he's been around a while. As back comes onto the pitch, Alan Brown.
Well, Well, that was a soft penalty there from Preston Lodge. Stuart Murray, he was loitering with intent around the side of that particular. He wasn't even doing anything, but he was caught offside. So Graham Hanna, the referee, he was sharp in his whistle there.
Well, Brown, in fact, has left the field and is replaced by Smith. A little trouble with his contact in his eye, a poke in the eye, I believe. A knock forward from that line out. Turns over possession back to Preston Lodge.
Good throw to, yeah.
So that'll be a blow for Dundee, losing Alan Brown, of course, played for Scotland under 19s, 18s and 21s and the Scottish students. As Gilliland feeds the scrum, out to MacDonald. MacDonald, the long clearing kick, and an excellent kick from him.
Well, it was a good kick there from young Stephen MacDonald, but there was men outside and they had for a 2-for-1. If they'd just given another pass, they then had the option of whether to counter-attack and then kick. Admittedly, it was a good kick, but always believed that the man in possession, if he gives it one more pass, he can give the option to somebody else.
Yeah, I think some of the teams that come to Murrayfield maybe a little bit guilty, Scott, of not moving the ball, taking the opportunity, the nerves get the better of them and kick away a lot of possession. Let's get a bit of width in the game. Anyway, Dundee win a line-out ball once again, but it's been turned over. Gilliland to Stewart. Stewart once again to MacDonald, bringing in Greg Kinross. That's better. Out to the winger this time, number 11, John Armstrong. He tries to take his man on. He looks nifty on his feet, this young lad. Back inside to Kinross, up to the 22. Well kept alive. MacDonald once again. Melvin goes in to help, and number 9, Gilliland's there as well. There's his brother, number 6, goes in to play fly half. Out to Murray Stewart. Murray Stewart back inside to the forwards this time. Deemed to be on his feet. As Dundee turned over the ball. Hewitt then, the little kick over the top. Yeah, Preston Lodge been deemed offside at the ruck situation, and once again he's singled out number 1, Stuart Murray, twice round the edges, so you'll have to watch that. Preston Lodge, you think, Scott, maybe the pace of the game a bit high for them?
It is, although they're moving the ball well, actually. It's quite an even game at the moment. The blustery conditions are affecting some of the kicking, but otherwise it's been very open. We were just criticising perhaps the players there about not taking chances, but we saw again PL willing to move the ball through the hands, and of course the first time that Dundee really got good possession, that was the try that was put through the hands, and of course the winger there, Dougie Gray, got in for that early score.
So young Dougie McLaren to throw to the line out. A good take once again. Of course, the young hooker and under 18 and under 19 Scotland caps. So a bit of experience there as Hewitt goes in. He was scragged once again. And another penalty for coming in from the side door. And Preston Lodge, well, they're just going to have to watch that. The penalty count already mounting against them. As Neil Gallagher just sends a kick down into the Preston Lodge 22.
Graham Hanna there penalised Andy Wilson for coming in at the side, but from my reading of that situation, he came right from the back of the ruck. Here we see it here. He's coming from the right of your picture, through the middle of the ruck he goes. I think that was a harsh penalty against the big second row.
So McLaren to throw. A lot of movement in the line out and good ball off the top once again. Hewitt this time. That was the wing forward standing off. He takes it up very well and sets the ball up. The trundle on, they'll need to get the ball back now. The referee just asking the tackler to roll away as Hewitt goes in. Out to 10, Gallagher. Gallagher. He had runners left and right but held on that time. But they still have possession, Dundee. And a penalty kick there. Well, Scott, you feel as if Gallagher should maybe have offloaded in that occasion.
Well, you saw the defence just opening up. Here is the camera behind the post. Look at this for a view. Here's Gallagher, shows the ball now. If he just fed there, well, maybe Lamont was taken out. If he got the ball, however, he would have still been over the gain line. So an early chance for Dundee to improve their points here with a try by, penalty goal I should say, by Niall Gallagher. Be meat and drink for the guy. Right in front of the sticks, over it goes.
Yeah, he knocks it over, as you say, Scott, and after 21 minutes of play, the score now reads Dundee High School 8, Preston Lodge 3. Andy, coming back into the game a bit now, Dundee, you think they're going to end up being a little bit too strong for Preston Lodge? Well, we'll restart once again. It was a good take by Dundee as Hewitt goes in. He feeds to Gallagher. Copybook struck from the kick-off as he clears his lines. Of course, Dundee, as we've already said, the winners of Division 3 this year, so they'll be playing rugby in the Premiership next year. Premiership 2 for them next year. As Preston Lodge cut their line out, Jason Curry to throw. A little bit loose, but tapped back and well taken in by Robert Murdoch there. The hooker just hands on the ball there to Gilliland. Gilliland to Stewart. Stewart to Melvin. Melvin bringing in Kinross. He's been dangerous whenever he's come into the line, and the penalty once again, you'll see the advantage being played. Preston Lodge up to the 10-metre line. Gilliland this time goes blind. A little change of tactic in the kick. He knew he had the penalty. It's got this young lad, Greg Kinross, seems to come into the line very well.
He hits the ball certainly at pace to the fullback. I think he's linking well again with this sort of midfield combination. I just feel that maybe they could use the ball through. There he is, Greg Kinross. I think they've been using Melvin for a lot of the runs. Now, if he could be used as a dummy decoy runner and bring in this guy Kinross on the wide, then there's certainly pace out here on the left wing through John Armstrong. But what we're seeing is a team, well, both teams are obviously in the BT Premiership Division 3. They played against each other, they know each other's style of play. Dundee have got the promotion up to Premier 2. But PL aren't going to lie down, because they've certainly shown in the early exchanges of this game that they're prepared to move the ball and actually attack Dundee throughout.
Well, the upshot of that is it's a penalty chance for Melvin. Quite far out, but he struck it well, but I think it's drifted away to the left-hand side of the post. So the score after 25 minutes remains Dundee High School 8, Preston Lodge 3. Neil Gallagher, the school teacher, ready to restart. Of course, his father, Peter Gallagher, who's a programme manager for the under-19s at Murrayfield. So a lot of family interest and history in the Gallaghers. It's Gallagher with ball on hand. The referee says there was no crossing there. The chip once again lands in the hands of Kinross. He returns it. Good return for him, and number 15, Mark Lamont, just couldn't get to the ball. He just had to let it roll into touch. So I've been impressed by Kinross so far.
No crossing.
Yeah, it was a good kick there by Kinross. The defence was up on that kick through first of all. Greg Kinross didn't have an awful lot of option, was tight to the tram lines, stuck it down there, found the line out. Now, can Preston Lodge put the Dundee pack under pressure at this line out throw?
Well, this is the type of areas in the park where you love to steal a ball. But Dougie McLaren finds his man at the front this time. And a good wrap around. They look nice and tight and well drilled, the Dundee forwards.
Here it comes, stay on.
Hewitt then to Gallagher.
Weave him.
And Gallagher, a nice spiralling touch kick into the east stand. So there he is, Niall Gallagher, played for Scottish schools.
Big gap, please. Step back. Thank you.
So Jason Curry to throw. This time it goes to the back. It was meant for Ewan Fain, but it was overthrown.
Release. Dundee
through and Scavage, the pick. And the rumble round by the Dundee forwards. Hewitt's in. You see how he just buys himself that little bit of space and a little kick in behind the left winger there for Preston Lodge, John Armstrong. He has to chase back. Back infield to Kinross, but fair play to them. They run it out to MacDonald. MacDonald on his right foot. He hasn't found touch, however. Gives Dundee the opportunity to run back. Down the blind side. Good movement by Dundee. Good pace out wide. Preston Lodge scrambling in defence here. Knock on, however, at the vital point. Gives Greg Kinross the chance to clear his lines.
A very good counter-attack there from Dundee. Preston Lodge kicked the ball through Stephen MacDonald. He was the cut inside. It had been set up by Shannon Wilson, and it was Shannon Wilson who actually put the pace onto that particular movement, who released Andy Kennedy. Kennedy was wearing the scrum cap there, but it was poor ball control there by Dundee. But ultimately, they'll have the throw-in on the 10-yard line.
Give the gap, please. In the middle, both sides. Thank you.
So McLaren to throw. Good ball off the top in the middle there, but well spoiled, and through go Preston Lodge. That's the number 8 for Preston Lodge. Big Ewan Thane, the captain, trundles on. Murray Stewart then, inside to McDonald. McDonald once again, Kinross times his run well into the line.
Release, throw away tackler, watch your feet, sir!
Here's the ball on a plate for Gilliland. Penalty's been given once again, and that could be a yellow card. Gallagher there pleads innocence.
Go away quickly, okay?
Well, he was the play here by Dundee. The ball bounced back in here. The run on by the number 8 for Preston Lodge through Ewan Thane, their captain. Through the hands. Now watch the angle that Greg Kinross takes it. Bang! Through he goes. Big tackle there. Now Gallagher's there. Now he must roll away immediately. If he's rucked on the body, then that's his fault. He has got to roll away, and as a result of his misdemeanour there, he's been yellow carded.
Yeah, I think he would have been okay, Scott, but you just saw it there. He stuck his hand up to get in the way of the scrum half's pass, and that is what he was sent to the bin for.
That could prove quite crucial, actually, when the last we've got 12 minutes left of this first half in the BT Shield. Melvin's got an opportunity to get Preston Lodge back within touching distance of Dundee. That could be a wee turning point.
Well, definitely the pivotal position there, number 10. You don't want to be without your 10, as Melvin straight in front with a chance to put points on the board for Preston Lodge. It was a lazy kick, but it's there. So the score's now Dundee 8, Preston Lodge 6, and they're right back in the game. Melvin, there's the smile on his face, he's delighted. The kick didn't look as if it was going to get there, but it got over, and it's 3 points.
Here you see the penalty, and Melvin just kept his head down, sliced it just inside the upright, so they all count.
So this time the number 15, Mark Lamont, restarts. Taken in by Gilliland. Gilliland, the box kick for his winger to chase. And he just about had it there, but it was well taken by Dundee. Good wing position, good work by number 11, Andy Kennedy, as they bring it back to the open side. Good defence, however, scrambling defence by Preston Lodge. They're trying to take man and all. Just a little knock forward there, and a scrummage down again. But good harrying in defence there, Scott.
Yeah, it was good, but this was good play from the take by Andy Kennedy. Dundee moved it wide, but they started forcing the passes. Shannon Wilson here was caught in possession. Good follow-up tackle by the right winger for Preston Lodge, John Armstrong.
So Hewitt to feed the scrum just inside his own half. The player coach at Dundee will have been pleased with the way they started the game, but he'll be a bit worried being without his 10 partner Gallagher at the moment. The number 8 picks at the base there. However, number 7 there on that occasion, and number 9 penalised, not rolling away from the tackle. So Scott Gilliland, one of the brothers, his brother David playing at 6, penalised for not rolling away. And Andy, your thoughts so far as we approach half time?
Well, I think what Dundee will have to do the next 8 minutes now is just they've got the quality of the pack, and they've got the strength in the pack, just to keep it quite tight. You know, when you, as you said in the commentary, when you lose a playmaker, it's very hard to fill that gap. It's easy if it's a forward or out wide, but when it's a playmaker, it's very difficult. So Dundee, I think, with Jason Hugh, with his experience and the quality of this pack, they'll just keep it very tight in the next 8 minutes until half-time, until they get the full quota back on the park.
Thank you, Andy. Well, back to the action here, and just on halfway, Dundee just with a pick and drive, just trying to suck in the Preston Lodge defence. You'll see the referee's hand out once again. They've managed to suck the penalty from them as Hewitt goes in once again. Of course, no 10, so they're keeping it tight. Little pop passes, as Andy was saying, trying to keep the possession, trying to tie in the Preston Lodge defenders. Hewitt once again, he'll go through all the tricks in his book. A lot of experience there. Dundee once again, you'll see they bring it back into the sanctuary of forwards. Well tackled there, that was Robert Murdoch with the tackle, but not rolling away. Unlucky there because it was a good tackle. And we're going down touchline to see Iona and Derek Stark.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, Derek, obviously that yellow card, a crucial time. And do you think Preston Lodge will be able to sort of make a few more points in that time?
I think he deserved to go. Preston Lodge seemed to have the edge in the backs anyway, so with that extra man, they should be really trying to, you know, get to the back three. The young boy Armstrong, he's only had one run and he was looked pretty exciting runner. Greg Ross has been probably the best player on the park just now, so I think if Preston Lodge can use the advantage, then we've got a couple of points on the board.
Cheers, Derek. Thanks. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you very much, Iona. And of course the Derek start there, down on the touchline. Well, a good attacking line out here for Dundee as McLaren throws. Another good take in the middle. The forwards go in and wrap around the set for the drive. The referee telling them, Preston Lodge, to get onside in the blind side. Will not want to give any penalties away here. Once again, it's kept tight and picked. Advantage to Dundee.
Against you, mate. Get onside. You get onside, number 8.
The number 8 penalised there. Ewan Thane for being offside. There he is, the big skipper. 26-year-old now, big chemical engineer. Been around for a while at Preston Lodge.
Well, Thane's lucky not enough to get the yellow card there, because Gallagher was just penalised for a similar incident, but it looked as though Thane stopped possession there, and really, you know, Graham Hanna there maybe have shown the yellow card, but he got away with it.
Well, the upshot is another line out. McLaren finds his man in the middle again. Andrew Wilson. Adam Russell it was, went up with a good take.
Stay on.
Hewitt then. No 10, it's 15 playing. Mark Lamont's in the 10 position. 10, remember, off the park. Gallagher been sin bin. Dundee down to 14 men, but they're attacking at the moment. And they're leading the way in this game. Preston Lodge having a lot of defending to do at the moment. The referee once again just asking them to get on the back foot. And another penalty. He must be thinking shortly of either yellow cards or penalty tries. They cannot afford to keep giving away penalties, Scott.
On that occasion it was dangerous play. The ball had been formed, and as the Dundee team drove towards the PLM, Preston Lodge guilty of pulling that down. That's deemed unfair play and obviously dangerous play. As a result, Dundee have then opted to go for the scrum. They've just got the upper hand, and you just feel if Preston Lodge can survive this. Remember, Dundee are down to 14 men, and this pack are doing well for Dundee.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's a crucial period in the game for them.
Well, there seems to be a wee bit of a problem here for the Preston Lodge team. There's David Scott just going off the pitch. They're having to bring another prop onto the park. I think Robert Murdoch was actually off earlier on, so they're bringing on a front row sub here. That's Keith Duncan winning the number 22 jersey.
And with the back row going off, we can only assume that he's in the bin, Scott, that he's been sin bin, Murdoch. Anyway, a big scrum for him as he comes down. Hewitt goes round the blind. He's tackled there by Ewan Thane, the Preston Lodge captain. But it's back on the Dundee side once again. The forwards trundle on. They could be over in the corner, and they are. An excellent try there. I think it could have been the big number 6.
Yeah, it was good play here, good driving play. The retained possession, Dundee, the pick and drive, bang, over he goes. The blindside flanker, Chris Cumming, in for the 5-pointer. But it was Hewitt first of all. Looked how he stayed big in the tackle here. He then went to deck, presented the ball, and this gave the forwards 5 metres to go, the opportunity just to pick up and drive over the line. And wearing the grey scum cap was Chris Cumming.
That was easy for you to say there, Scott.
I was getting excited there, but Chris Cumming with a really crucial try there for Dundee. That gives them an extra 5 points. Of course, they're down to 14 men. Dundee in the driving seat.
Yeah, the big number 6 goes over for an important try. The zoology student, formerly Scotland under 18 and 19 as well. And over goes the X's from the full-back Lamont. So as we approach half-time, the score now reads Dundee High School 15, Preston Lodge FP 6. There's Lamont, he got the extras. And Andy, a crucial time to score a try.
Yeah, it was good. It was just very dull. As I said the last time, the Dundee pack have just grabbed this game when they've been down to 14 men, and they've really got an advantage over the Preston Lodge pack. I think the back lines are actually very evenly matched. I think I've been pretty impressed so far with Murray Stewart, Steve McDonald and John Melvin, but the Dundee pack have an advantage, and I just think that will tell as the game goes on.
Yeah, without a doubt, and so many of these players in the pack for Dundee have played representative rugby at one stage or another in their careers. A lot of youngsters, a good sprinkling of youngsters played under 19, 18, 21 rugby, and they're just coming this through. However, it looks as if they've broken out again. And the winger's over in the corner. Andy Kennedy that time, the number 11, a breakaway try, and really they could have this game wrapped up before half-time.
Well, watch this wicked bounce. Greg Ross, it just bounced away from him. But Andy Kennedy, he looks a bit of a flying machine, stretched his legs, out sprinted the defence, and suddenly Dundee with a double whammy, 2 tries on the trot. And look at him just stretching the defence. Melvin couldn't get close to him. Good try there by Andy Kennedy.
Well, it was just a lack of concentration from the kick-off from Preston Lodge. Dundee win the ball, they move it back, and well, it just shows you what can happen. So they'll have it all to do in this second half, as Lamont has the chance to add the extras. A difficult kick for him, and that falls short.
So as we look at this bounce here now for Greg Ross, he had it covered, bang, it just goes straight back into the hands of Dundee, who are up in numbers there. It was first of all Shannon Wilson, but Andy Kennedy got the ball. Now you see him, he then went straight back out the corner, stretched the defence, nobody at home. Try time Dundee.
Well, the Ulster 21s player manages to get in the corner. Anyway, the upshot is the restart there for Preston Lodge, and the score now stands at Dundee High School 20, Preston Lodge 6.
It's good, guys.
And not long to go before half-time. Dundee starting to take control up front, their big forwards using all their experience. That was Russell there in the line-out. A good catch and a good drive, and Preston Lodge, well, they're finding it hard to defend. And back onto the park now is Gallagher. He's back out the sin bin, so Dundee back to their full complement and back with their number 10. As Hewitt goes, a good break by him. Maybe not got the gas that he once had, but he makes it up to halfway. Picked once again by these big Dundee forwards. They rumble on up to the 10-metre line. Hewitt comes back the other way. Oh, Gallagher had to try and take that one off his shoelaces. However, the referee looked as if he was going to play on, but he's brought him back.
White, guys.
And well, he would have done well to pick that one up, Scott.
Well, there was a bit of ping-pong going on there. You can see the pass here from Shannon Wilson. The knock-on. And watch this then. The big pick-up here from Cummings. He then kicks it. And of course, you know, Graham Hanna there, he wasn't quite sure if it was a knock-on or not, but he favoured the scrum put into PL.
So Gilliland to feed the scrum.
Well, you can just see the Preston Lodge scrum. They were under pressure there from the Dundee 8. And certainly, if there's an area where you can see a differential between these teams, it's in that forward performance from that Dundee scrum.
Of course, PL only with 7 or 8 because they have a prop in the sin bin as Lamont comes down the blind side from a strong scrum. Picked up once again. He's just rolled into touch. Gilliland then, back in his own 22. He does well.
There's no advantage, boys. That's scrappy.
No advantage coming from the original knock-on. It was thrown forward in the tackle by number 14, Dougie Gray, on that occasion. So it'll be a scrum. Preston Lodge ball. But as we speak, there's Gilliland, not the scrum half, but the blindside flanker, David, the technician from Preston Lodge, who's just gone down with a little knock.
Well, here we see this wee passage by Dundee had the ball, then down the wing there. Dougie Gray takes the ball on. There's a good tackle there actually from Murray Stewart, but that was the loose possession there. Gilliland, well, he fed the dummy, and I reckon if he'd actually made that pass, that would have given an opportunity for PL just to clear the lines. For an injury there for the hard endeavours for David Gilliland, one of the twins on the pitch for Preston Lodge.
Yeah, instantly recognisable down that Preston panned the two bald-headed Gillilands.
Mark's here, boys. Step back.
I think you've got a bit of that on top of you, Napper, Jim, haven't you?
Well, not so much just now, Scott. Anyway, Gilliland 9 feeds the scrum, which is under tremendous pressure, remember, with only 7 forwards in it. He did well, the number 9, to recover there. And a penalty kick, so good play there. As McDonald takes it quickly to Melvin. Melvin out to Murray Stewart. Murray Stewart, the kick over the top. They'll need to try and keep ball in hand though, Scott, because they're points behind as the half-time whistle goes in this BT Shield. And the score at half-time at Murrayfield, Dundee 20, Preston Lodge 6.
There we are, Dundee in what could be a very significant half-time lead by 20 points to 6. Reaction to that first half coming up straight after this short break.
Hiya. Date went well then?
I'm gonna end up some mad old wrinkly spinster with a cat and a brown sofa.
Worse than that, you're gonna end up with me. 4 years ago, the stars, the firelight, the gold blend, the if you haven't met Mr. Right by the time you're 30, I'll marry you.
Stir your senses with the fresh taste and rich aroma of Nescafe Gold Blend. The coffee lover's coffee.
Yeah, I remember.
We've only got a year to go.
Why wait?
Since time began, man has been drinking Volvic mineral water from volcanoes to give him volcanicity. Volvic, filtered through layers of volcanic rock to fill you with volcanicity.
When you want fresh breath and clean teeth, but you're not able to brush, try Smint with 100% xylitol. It's anti-cavities, anti-plaque, and helps refresh your breath instantly, anytime and anywhere. Smint xylitol. Fresh breath, clean teeth.
At Bupa Care Homes, we believe that mental decline is not an inevitable part of ageing. The average 70-year-old has 97% of the brain cells they had at 25. Our minds stay agile for longer if we're kept active, stimulated and challenged.
Checkmate.
At Bupa Care Homes, active care is something we're passionate about.
For more about Bupa's range of services, which are available to everyone, call 0800 00 1010.
Oh, Nell, you're the one for me. No one else comes close. I must be the luckiest guy in the world. Oh, Kelly, you're the one for me. No one else comes close. I really must be the luckiest guy in the world.
Two-time Nell McAndrew and Kelly Brook when you buy this weekend's News of the World and get a glossy mega double-sided poster free.
Oh, Nell. Oh, I mean Kelly.
Only inside this weekend's News of the World.
Sing it, Joe. La 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 la.
It's the Shield final here at Murrayfield, and Dundee are leading Preston Lodge by 20 points to 6 at half-time. Richie and Sean with me here in the studio. Dundee well worth their half-time lead, Richie.
Yeah, certainly. I think they're a little bit complacent, actually. You know, we talked about it before the kick-off that Dundee were out-and-out favourites for this. And I think the players, the way they were playing in the first 20 minutes, looked like they believed that. And they eventually got their act together. Power pack up front really set a tremendous platform. I think they've just got far better players throughout their team. Preston Lodge are going to have to go some to even make any indent into coming back into that.
Having said that, Sean, Preston Lodge started well and they were a wee bit cocky. They even tried to run that penalty. They should have kicked it.
Yeah, I think they've been a bit impatient, maybe slightly naive as well. And discipline's really cost them. A lot of people, I would hate to see the penalty count. But Greg Kinross at 15 has been outstanding. I think he's played very well coming to Dundee. But one mistake near the end there and got a try for Dundee, young Kennedy on the wing. But they've got a lot to do, as Richie said, and I can see a 40-pointer here.
Yeah, and Richie, we hear there's going to be a couple of changes. 2 under-21 internationals. Alistair Dickinson from Scotland, Neil McComb from Ireland coming on for Dundee.
Propping a second row, so you can see the tactics from Dundee at half-time. I can see them just keep on battering up front, setting a good platform for an outstanding back division that, remembers, hasn't got their 10 at the moment. Neil Gallagher got sin bin, so they're really playing with one back down, and I think they'll just lay a platform there.
OK lads, we'll talk more at full time. It's the second half, Dundee versus Preston Lodge, the final of the Shield. Let's rejoin Andy Nicol, Scott Hastings and first of all, Jim Hay.
Thank you, Jim, and the referee Graham Hanna gets the game underway. His BT Shield Cup final at Murrayfield. We went in at half time, Dundee with a commanding lead, 20 points to 6. Stephen McDonald there just follows up on his kick through there. The young student there. All credit to Preston Lodge. They've tried to move the ball whenever they've had the opportunity, but they're being starved of ball at the moment as Dougie McLaren throws to the line out. That one goes a bit astray. Comes back on the Preston Lodge side. Is picked up by Gilliland, but the referee brings them back. No advantage for the squint throw. So a scrummage just inside the Preston Lodge 10-metre line. They're put into the scrum. And Andy, what the Preston Lodge need to do to get back into this game in the second half?
They need to play a fast, fluid game. They need to get the ball away from the forwards, because Dundee have just got a real stranglehold in this game at the moment. As I said earlier, the Preston Lodge backs are actually, I think they're a good unit. They've got some good players there. They like to throw the ball. They must play a fast game. They must get the ball away from source quickly and get it moving.
Thank you, Andy, once again, as Hewitt, the former All Black, feeds the scrum. Picked up a backroom move there, the number 8, but holding on to the ball. So Gilliland quickly takes, this time out to Dave Scott, Davy Scott to Murray Stewart. Out there from Melvin, Melvin to number 14, Stephen DeLuca, brother of Nick DeLuca, who plays his rugby for Heriots. In there at the back goes Davy Scott once again. In fact, that could have been Ewan Fane, the captain. He goes in and trundles on. Gilliland to Melvin. Melvin to McDonald. He turns into the tackle just on halfway. But it's good defence once again by Dundee. Good recycling, however. Gilliland back to Stewart. Up the blind side this time. Lamont comes into the line. A good dodge by him. And passes out to his winger, Dougie Gray, who sends it down and into touch. Andy Kennedy, in fact, the left winger on that occasion, took the inside pass from Lamont. But better play early on there from Preston Lodge, Scott. They'll want to try and keep the ball more in this second half.
Yeah, once again, I've been very impressed with their flying half, Murray Stewart. He wants to keep the ball moving. This link between McDonald and Melvin in the centres, that's where they're going to be. Andy Nicol was just saying there, if they can move it away from the forward pack, get in the possession, you can see the conditions. Fantastic for open rugby.
Well, there's the ball from the line-out against the throw, and Gallagher, a good punt by him over towards the west stand. Greg Kinross fields. Bert Craig, the touch judge, just makes the mark for Graham Hanna, the referee. There, number 13, Shannon Wilson. A surveyor, comes from Christchurch in New Zealand. As once again Jason Curry throws. That's better ball for Preston Lodge. Stewart then to McDonald. McDonald then with the kick with the right foot in behind Lamont. Back he goes, his winger this time. Kennedy was back to help him, but he finds a good touch. Dundee now playing with the wind behind them, although the wind does tend to swirl and change directions at Murrayfield. Number 2 then, Jason Curry to throw to the line out. Once again, Dundee get hands to it and turn over the ball. They have to keep possession. As number 6 there, Chris Cumming drives on up to the 10-metre line. Once again, the short ball to the forward, standing off from Hewitt. Good driving work once again, but Preston Lodge, there's a penalty coming here. Good tackle coming in there by number 7, David Scott. It was a ball and all tackle, but the referee's hand still out for advantage as it comes from Hewitt to Gallagher. Gallagher. Dundee coming onto the ball at depth and at pace now. Getting big runners coming round and sucking in this Preston Lodge defence. They're over halfway. Once again, they go down the blind side. That was number 12, Ross Lemon. And he squeezed through there, but penalised for crossing there, the referee.
Yeah, it's called a crossover, this move. Now, this is where a man of your own team runs in front of you. There it goes. And that blocks the defence. So Ross Lemon was caught running round behind the back. And that gives PL an opportunity to get down into Dundee's 22. Now PL, if they're going to get back into the game, they have to do it from this line-out throw. You really feel that Dundee had them on the squeeze, but PL will run it through their backs off the particular line-out.
Yeah, the key for them, Scott, is winning the line-out ball. The last 2 or 3 Dundee have managed to disrupt, so Jason Curry will be looking to find his jumper. He goes to the middle. It was intended for number 5, Andrew Wilson. But an overthrow once again, and this is what happens. You start to live off scraps of possession. As in goes Hewitt. The long kick back down.
And Jason Curry is testing windy conditions. It's windy here in the commentary box with a cup of tea just gone over Jim Hayes' notes. But Jason Curry, as you said, Jim, he's just lost the last 3 line-out throws. Suddenly you lose that possession. You're living off the scraps. And the last thing that PL want to do is have this problem at the line-out.
Well, let's see if we can find his man here. Once again, it's intended for number 5, big Andrew Wilson. They got hands to it, but it's back once again into the hands of Gallagher, the number 10. He dances. He's like Baloo the Bear, the big number 10. Back down the blind side, Lamont feeds a forward standing off. You can see the game plan. In fact, Hewitt on that occasion, the little pass and the little nudge to his forwards coming on. There he is again, the wider service out to Gallagher. Gallagher with a half gap, he's through, chased by Melvin and tackled by Melvin and by Gilliland. Well picked up once again by the Dundee forwards. Neil McCormack, of course, now playing in the middle row in place of Ander Kennedy, wearing the number 4 jersey.
That was a good break there by Niall Gallagher. He's just opening up the defence. Again, we haven't mentioned it too much this afternoon, but Jason Hewitt, who was brought in as player coach and director of rugby, just to sort of tighten up. They've got the BT Premiership title in their grasp. They're up.
Well, back to the action. Gilliland feeds to Murray Stewart. A great break by him up to halfway. He's got quick, nimble feet. Been at Preston Pans for a few years now. Blind they come again into the hands of number 7 here. David Scott sets up the ball once again. This is better play from Preston Lodge. Gilliland to Stewart. Stewart misses out McDonald. Straight to Melvin. The bouncing ball. No option but to kick over the top for the left winger John Armstrong. But just a little bit strong and straight into touch.
Just again the bounce of the ball. Just losing John Armstrong there. There's John Melvin there. Didn't have much option there when the defence was up for Dundee. But here we see the ball once again through the hands of Murray Stewart. Now Melvin let it bounce. There wasn't an awful lot on as the defence came up. But the bounce of the ball here evading John Armstrong. And really you feel as though PL have got to get down into that Dundee 22.
Well, Dougie McLaren to throw. A good take that time by Neil McComb in the 4 jersey. Hewitt then. Preston Lodge round offside once again.
Well, here we see this was a driving maul that was brought down to deck. Dangerous play once again, and you can see the arm of the referee there, Graham Hanna, already out. He'd spotted that infringement.
Well, Gallagher just knocks it down the touchline again. There he is. He looks as if he's had an extra meal or two lately, Andy.
I cannot comment on that.
And it goes, oh, it was just about well taken in the middle, but just slipped through his hands. Turned over ball. They've been few and far between for Preston Lodge. Gilliland steps once again. That's Murray Stewart, the dancing 10.
Roll away, tackler. Let it come.
Slower ball once again. Dundee being able to just get in and slow down the Preston Lodge possession. As Gilliland goes in, comes back the other way through Scott. Scott to MacDonald. It was number 14, DeLuca, that tried the run around in that occasion, but the ball's gone forward once again. So try as they may, Scott, Preston Lodge just finding this defence of Dundee in their face the whole time.
Well, there's always the extra man, isn't there? They're trying to create that extra man, but Dundee's defence is good. This was the knock on there by the centre, and as a result, Dundee will have the put in. We've got an injury here, but you really, the Preston Lodge are just trying to force the game a little bit too much, and as a result, these errors that are creeping into their performance, Stephen McDonald there knocking the ball on, are basically allowing the game to slip away. Of course, we were entertained earlier on today at 11 o'clock when the two teams ran out for the BT Bowl. Annan versus Irvine. Annan came away. This is another step up, but in a, what, 3/4 of an hour's time, we've got the main event, the BT Cup between Heriots and Watsonians, and suddenly you see the step up in terms of intensity, the speed of play, and you just feel that Dundee are actually, although been playing in Premiership 3 this year, they're up to 2. They look like a Premiership 2 side, whereas actually Preston Lodge look like a Premiership 3 side.
Yeah, without a doubt they do. I think it's the experience that they have, you know, in key positions at 9 and 10, and a lot of experience in their pack as well. Although that experience not lending its hand there as Hewitt feeds the scrum squint, and it's taken by Gilliland. Gilliland back inside to number 8 and captain Ewan Thane. He takes it up to halfway. The referee's hands out for a penalty. Murray Stewart, you feel he should have ran that because it was free ball, but he kicks it in behind. Lamont lets the ball roll down, and he's closed all the way by John Armstrong. So good tracking and chasing by him. Young Stephen McDonald was up there as well. So a good attacking option now for Preston Lodge, and a good time for them to score if they want to get back into this game, Andy.
Yes, absolutely. It's key. The thing is, in the 10 minutes or so we've played in the second half, Dundee have won every single line out of Preston Lodge. So it's an area of, we've talked about, the Preston Lodge need to get ball, but at the moment they can't find a source to get it from.
Well, young Jason Curry will be looking to find his man here. The 24-year-old worker for British Gas. He does, he goes to the middle and he finds it well. Wilson on that occasion. The drive comes in from Preston Lodge. The fans from the pans start to roar as Preston Lodge trundle ever closer towards the Dundee line. They're number 8 and captain Ewan Thane in the van as they come open and then try and go blind once again. Gilliland to Murray Stewart. The dancing 10, has he made the line? He's tackled just short by Ross Lemon there, number 12. A good tackle by him. Advantage once again being played as they go and try and plunder up through the middle. The referee's hands out and the penalty eventually given. Quickly taken though by number 8, David Scott. 7 it was on that occasion. He tried a quick attempt. Let's hope he's not been turned over. The ball comes back blind. It's into the hands of the young hooker, Jason Curry. You feel Preston Lodge have to score here if they want to have any chance. Gilliland back to Murray Stewart. Murray Stewart to Melvin. Melvin, an interception there by the fullback Lamont. He hands on inside to Shannon Wilson. Shannon Wilson, oh, that was a high tackle there by number 7, David Scott. Advantage is being played. Hewitt. And the kick downfield and the pressure relieved, but he'll bring them back. Actually not penalised for the high tackle, but penalised for pulling the man back.
Well, this was the hands of Melvin here, but the interception by Shannon Wilson, well, it wasn't Shannon Wilson, it was Mark Lamont. Fullback timing his position well. He manages to offload here in the tackle, and this was Shannon Wilson. He was the one who took away the counter-attack. Now, as he came in here, stepped off his right foot, he got tackled there by the flank forward, David Scott, and oh, that looks sore in the legs. But look at the defensive line-up here from Dundee. They put pressure on the man's. Lamont had the ball here, got the support on the counter-attack from Shannon Wilson, but it was Shannon Wilson who was brought down in the tackle by David Scott. But glad to report that Wilson's up and running, and he'll be taking part.
And
further in
Andy,
the game.
surely Preston Lodge would have been looking to score there. Good defence, however, once again by Dundee.
It's been a feature of the game so far, how good and organised the Dundee defence is, and how many times you've seen interception when they've been pressing and pressing. But there's one thing for certain there, when Mark Lamont took that ball on his own 22, there was no danger in him running the length because he's got no pace whatsoever.
Well, Andy, you'll know him, of course, formerly plied your trade up at Dundee, and I'm sure he'll be delighted when he hears that tonight. Anyway, back to the action. Dougie McLaren throws, well taken in the line-out once again by Dundee. That's the number 6, Chris Cumming, rolling round the edges. Number 2, McLaren goes in. 9, Hewitt. Out to Gallagher. Gallagher with a man standing off, back inside there. And once again, Preston Lodge. This time, number 13, John Melvin, penalised for not rolling away in the tackle, just asking the referee. But you see the hand signal, no, you've got to roll away.
Here's the replay here. This is the back here, the run around and the charge on by Tim Parrott, the captain. But isn't it amazing that suddenly Dundee come down into PL's half, they put them under pressure, the error is made there in the tackle situation, and now Niall Gallagher has got an opportunity to pop 3 points over for Dundee. Let's go down to trackside and hear from Iona Scott.
Thanks, Scott. Yes, well, Derek, the Dundee coach has said at half-time that the forwards just had to keep up this level of play and the game would be theirs, and they're fulfilling their brief beautifully, aren't they?
Yes, I spoke to Eamon John at the end of the first half there, and he actually said it might be a game too far for his boys, but they've stuck in well, and you know, they had a lot of possession there. They're unlucky not to come away with some points. They can hold their heads up high just now, but if they can keep going, and the next score is going to be crucial. Whoever scores the next sort of points will probably run away with the game.
Well, 3 missed points there, but we'll keep watching and waiting. Jim.
Yes, thank you, Iona. Niall Gallagher, of course, missed the 3 points, but Lamont brings the ball back from the resultant dropout. Hewitt again goes blind. Back inside from number 7 and captain Tim Parrott. Once again, Hewitt to Gallagher. Gallagher to Shannon Wilson. Wilson now out to the wing of Dougie Gray. He's got men to burn inside and he just hold on to the ball too long. Well back there was Gilliland. Well, that was an opportunity if ever there was, Scott.
Absolutely right. There was an opportunity there. It was great hands through here from Niall Gallagher. This was Shannon Wilson. He went on to the right wing, Dougie Gray. Now Gray has been licked up here. It was a try between the sticks. The ball went to no man's land, hit the referee Hannah. And as a result, it'll be scrubbed down for Dundee. Quite a few changes coming on here for PL.
Yeah, mass substitutions. Number 2, Jason Curry's gone off. He's replaced by Ross Anderson at hooker. Stuart Payne, number 20's come on for number 14, Stephen DeLuca. And we'll get the other replacements in a couple of minutes. But Preston Lodge feeling as if they've just got to make the changes. Duncan Simpson, I think number 18's on at scrum half instead of Gilliland.
Well, let's not forget that this is a showpiece game for the clubs. This is a dream for a lot of these players running out here at Murrayfield. Where else can you get the international arena of Murrayfield and the international pitch? Club players coming out. There's Eamon John there.
Yeah, been at Preston Lodge for a while, Andy, and what will he be saying to his players now?
Well, I'm thinking, as Derek Stark said, he'll be very pleased with how his players are going. They're putting every effort in, they're up against it. But just on the point that Scott was making, I was speaking to Mark Lamont, a full-back for Dundee this week, and he was just so excited about this game. It was one and possibly only chance of playing at Murrayfield, of being in the tunnel, of being in the change room. He's been a mate of mine since we were kids, and he's known that I've been experiencing all the times with the Scotland team, and he just wanted to see what it was like in the tunnel and in the change room. So he's absolutely delighted that he's out there, and he is playing well.
Yeah, well, thank you once again, Andy. As Preston Lodge try and run it out of defence, but you just see they're coming up against a white brick wall. Dundee defending very well, but all credit to Preston Lodge. They're sticking in right to the end there. Just watch it here. This was Melvin with a big handoff. Tried to pop it inside to McDonald. but the defence is just too strong. A knock on, however, by Dundee. So young Duncan Simpson, the replacement scrum half, will feed a scrum inside his own 22.
Stay down, boys.
Simpson then straight to MacDonald.
Leave him.
And MacDonald, under pressure from Andy Kennedy, finds his touch.
Right, Dave. Nice big gap again, guys. Let's keep working hard.
Well, you hear the referee there, Graham Hanna, just asking for that big gap. Of course, there's meant to be a metre between the two teams in the line-out. Plenty of room for Dougie McLaren to find his man, which he does. That's been a feature all afternoon. The Dundee line-out has gone very well.
Get out of there, PL.
However, number 16 Anderson did well to slow it down as Hewitt, the runaround, brings in the centre. Ross Lemon on that occasion comes in on the crash. Slower ball once again, they've been driven off, however, and a chance for Melbourne to move it to MacDonald. Greg Kinross, but you can see the pressure that Preston Lodge are being put under as they're hemmed back on their own 22, but a penalty given. A quick tap through by Melbourne. Melbourne to MacDonald. MacDonald out to Duncan Simpson, the young scrum half. Out again from Payne, the replacement winger who's on the park. This is number 7, David Scott. Once again, Simpson. Out to Murray Stewart. Murray Stewart to Davy Gillan. What a tackle that was in midfield. Picked up once again by Melbourne. And they're just getting knocked back now at every opportunity, Preston Lodge. An advantage being played, and I think they'll want to take it because they're being confronted by a wall of white defenders, Scott.
Yeah, what an amazing Preston Lodge. How many passes did they put together there? 13, 14 passes. But it was just the sheer pressure by this Dundee defence. And what I've been impressed at is Jason Hewitt, the New Zealander who was capped for New Zealand in the 1991 World Cup. He seems to have brought the best out of Dundee, and Dundee have got this 5-year strategy to get themselves back up into BT Premiership 1. Of course, they were there when Andy Nicol was plying his trade, but it was excellent play there all the way through.
And of course, Scott, he's about the same age as Andy Nicol. Of course, they're the same vintage. Andy, you'll be pleased as a scrum half yourself with the performance of him this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, he's organising things as any good scrum half should. He's got a pack of forwards in front of him that's giving him the platform to do that. But he's just got experience, and you cannot buy experience. And he's making it tell, and he's making all the right decisions at the right time. And he's getting an armchair ride, but he's doing it very well.
Well, MacDonald finds his touch just inside the Dundee half as the young hooker Ross Anderson throws to the line out. That's a better take by Bruce Stoddart, the replacement lock. Out from Murray Stewart. Murray Stewart brings in Greg Kinross, but a knock on and an unforced error once again. And once again, it's just the defence from Dundee. Try as they may, they cannot break through at the moment. You just watch it here. MacDonald inside to Kinross and just took his eye off the ball. And the upshot is a scrum to Dundee as we have a slight injury here. There, Greg Kinross. His uncle, of course, was president at Preston Lodge a few years ago, and I'm sure he'll be here today, along with hundreds of supporters from the East Coast.
Yeah, Greg Kinross there, he just took his eyes off the ball. He came across the defensive angle of Dundee, and of course, when you've got a line of forwards there, I'm not surprised he took his eyes off it. You just feel, though, with the game drifting away from Preston Lodge, this is in Dundee's grasp to win the BT Shield. There's only, what, 20 minutes or so to go.
Two ago, he definitely came up in it. Crouch and hold, engage. Sorry, boys. We'll reset and go again. Take our time this time, okay?
Well, the scrummage on halfway for Dundee.
Hold, engage.
Hewitt to feed the scrum. The pick up there by John Vernon at the back. But a good drive there by Preston Lodge, but they've not managed to turn over the ball as Hewitt goes down blind. They stay on their feet well, Dundee, and they wait for Hewitt to arrive once again. Gallagher tried a little inside pass. This time the centre, Shannon Wilson, dances and sets up a ruck ball just on halfway. Hewitt with a little pass back inside once again. That's good work there by the big fella, number 5, Adam Russell, rampaging away there. As once again it's through the hands from Dundee. Out to Shannon Wilson, through the gap, onto number 11 there, Andy Kennedy. He just managed to feed the ball back inside. All hands to deck for Preston Lodge. The hands up for the penalty. And they've come in the side door.
Leave it alone. Go away, boys. Well, look at the inside flip here into the second row. The good charge there by Russell. He waits for the support from his forwards. The ball comes back here onto Hewitt. There were men over straight away here. Excellent pass there by Tim Parrott. There, if the ball had been given straight away, you might have fancied Andy Kennedy to go in at the wing, but it was great cover tackle by PL, and it's only 5 metres from the line. But the turnover possession went against Dundee, and as a result, it's Preston Lodge who got the penalty metres from the try line.
Yeah, well, a series of penalties on their own try line in Preston Lodge. Trying to take a couple of quick ones there when we were getting the replay shown, but they've decided to go for touch, and really a scoring opportunity spurned there by Dundee, Andy.
But it is. We also saw a situation there when Andy Kennedy put the ball back inside. Greg Kinross, the Preston Lodge fullback, just lay over the ball and prevented that coming. Now, there's a yellow card, an option for the referee. Now, I think yellow cards are given out too often for two minor incidents. That was exactly the reason why yellow cards were brought in, to prevent professional fouls occurring and to get the game flowing. That was when a yellow card should have been given. As it wasn't, I think the referees missed an opportunity there.
Well, we just see from this line it was stolen against a throw, but once again Hewitt's pass, he'll be disappointed with one or two of his passes just at the feet of Big Gallagher, and well, he was having to dip the whole way, but a penalty was given for an offside at that line out, and it gives Preston Lodge the chance to throw, and young Ross Anderson, the replacement hooker, just inside the Dundee.
6 and 10 off. And 1. 3 guys. Back. Keep it going, guys.
So they've made a few changes there. Preston Lodge taking off their 10, their 6 and their 1, all experienced players. But I think Eamon John and Big Gordon Henderson, the coaches, it's the last roll of the dice for them. Bring on fresh legs, see if they can get a try, get back into this game. Not long to go, but they'll give it their all, and that's a great drive by Preston Lodge as they rumble up to the Dundee line in the 22. Out again there from McDonald to Melvin. Melvin this time to number 19, Neil Clyde. Now he's been around for 100 years, the back row forward. Back out there to McDonald. McDonald to Kinross. He stops and checks. Is he through the gap? He's half through, looking for support on the inside. Picked up once again by the Preston Lodge forwards. They bring it back to the open. McDonald. But just a spill over there as Hewitt manages to roll it away. The big number 5, Adam Russell, found himself out there in the open prairie. I'm sure he wouldn't have been wanting that pass with 80 metres in front of him.
Well, full credit there to Preston Lodge. They're trying, aren't they? You just feel as if they could snap this opportunity of a try. It might just give them a slim chance, but it was the knock-on. But this was the counter-attack. There's Russell. He put his hand up to take it, decides, oh, I don't want that one. But advantage hadn't been accrued from the resultant penalty. And there, Niall Gallagher just getting some treatment on the quadricep muscle there. Gallagher who took a bang there. But Dundee, a feature of today's game has been their defence throughout the whole game. Preston Lodge have driven well, just that last bit of play. It had been Andy Wilson that took ball up there for the Preston Lodge pack. But on that occasion, John Melvin, he was the one who spilt the ball in the 22. Turnover possession, and as a result, Jason Hewitt will have the opportunity to beat the Dundee scrum.
Well, a strike against the head there for Preston Lodge, but they lost it again. That's just the way their luck's been going lately. You can see number 21 there, Graham Patterson, just calling out the defence, because if they moved it, they'd meant to burn, but they've given a penalty away, and it really is the witching hour now for Preston Lodge. It's now or never if they want to get back in. McDonald out to Melvin, out to Patterson. Patterson out to number 20, Stuart Payne, the old campaigner on the wing. Back inside to Greg Kinross. He can Only admire the spirit of Preston Lodge. They're battling the whole way, but the Dundee defence has strong and it's very resolute. And there seems to be no way through at the moment. As Graham Patterson goes in and plays standoff to Melvin. Melvin then, he's lifted and driven back.
Scrum here.
Well, we have about 12 minutes left to go in this BT Shield final. The score still standing at Dundee High School 20, Preston Lodge 6.
Make it easy, please.
And I think, Andy, now Preston Lodge must get a try within this next few minutes to give themselves any chance.
They do definitely, Jim. But I mean, they're still trying very well, and they probably just need to put a bit more width in their game. They went into a one-pass strategy there, which with the Dundee's defence as strong as it is, as we've said so many times so far, they're not going to get through there. But it's amazing. I mean, Dundee are obviously showing a bit of enterprise here under their own post, which is great to see. It's what everyone wants to come and see. They're enjoying their occasion on the big stage, and they're doing pretty good fist of it.
Yeah, well, that was Shannon Wilson, and the initial surge set the ball up under his posts, and then come back to Gallagher, and he found a good touch down on the west stand here at Murrayfield.
Well, here's the movement here. This is right under their own post. Neil Gallagher feeds the fullback Mark Lamont, finds a good touch down on the PL 10-yard line. Just ran out of space there for Greg Kinross, who's played well throughout this game for Preston Lodge. But there is the face of Mark Lamont.
Yeah, the big policeman. 6 foot and 13 stone 9, so you know you wouldn't like to be arrested by him on a Saturday night, Scott.
Don't get into trouble on Saturday night, Jim.
And back to the action, it's off the top from Preston Lodge, but you can see they're under pressure from the line out as Dundee pile through. But they've managed to regroup. Neil Clyde in there, the 34-year-old, just trying to steady the ship if he can and get Preston Lodge back into this match. However, it's McDonald to Melvin. Melvin, they missed out Patterson. That just about bounced into the hands of Payne, but it goes into the hands of Andy Kennedy. Andy Kennedy looks as if he's got the gas to go under the sticks. A great tackle there, I think, by Greg Kinross getting back. Right under the shadow of his own posts. Advantage there. And a penalty to Dundee right under the Preston Lodge post. But a great break by Andy Kennedy. He showed great gas already, scored already, but they've taken it quickly. And the scrum half, Jason Hewitt, the player coach, goes over for a try.
Well, it was good perseverance, wasn't it? It came from Andy Kennedy's initial intrusion. Superb follow-up tackle there by Preston Lodge, but Jason Hewitt, well, it was a quick one taken right under the sticks. You could have thought 3 points, but here we saw it. Hewitt just dummied round. PL were slow there to cover the former New Zealand scrum half, and it was the simplest of tries, as Hewitt had the awareness though to go in under the sticks, and this will mean the silverware goes towards Dundee. The 2 points added there by Dundee.
Yeah, Lamont sticks over the extras, and the score now Dundee 27, Preston Lodge 6. And it looks, Andy, now as if a case of up with the bonnets of Shield final.
Yeah, I think they've got it in the bag now, and it's just a great finish to a great season. They've been like ever in these situations, it's momentum. They've had a momentum all season, and they've carried it through. They did a great win last week to win the BT Premiership 3 against West of Scotland, and they're carrying it through today. But I think what we're seeing now is Preston Lodge have put so much into the game against a bigger and stronger and better side that they're just getting a bit tired now, and that's why the defence wasn't quite as strong as it should have been there.
Well, you just see there, Stuart Payne was just lifted and bundled into touch. They tried to move it as they've tried all afternoon, but just being outgunned and outmuscled by a bigger, more organised side.
I was speaking to Gordon Henderson. He said he would put all his players on. A lot of youngsters on here for Preston Lodge. They'll benefit from this experience.
So it looks as if Dundee are going to go all the way here in the Shield.
On the back foot, on the blind.
Of course, they've beaten Langham, Linlithgow, Livingston and Ardrossan to reach the final. And it looks as if Preston Lodge are going to fall to them today at Murrayfield. Once again, this power play with Hewitt. He's been a cheeky wee monkey at 9 today, always managing to get the ball away. That a bit of a ricochet there, and up went the the left winger, John Armstrong, to put pressure on.
Carried over.
Well, this was the feed from Hewitt.
Carried over, boys.
It was knocked on by the replacement, Richie Hawkins. It was the fly hack through, and this was good follow-up by the PL defence. The ball was taken over the line there, so he has to play it. As a result of the follow-up tackle there, wearing the 21 jersey, Graham Patterson. 5-yard scrum for Preston Lodge.
It's got 90 guys to lose possession.
Well, the scrum was turned there, that allows Dundee. So again, the Dundee forwards just putting Preston Lodge under that pressure again. They've won possession there, but it was a PL put in. And a lost opportunity, you feel, for Preston Lodge.
Yeah, just pushing a bit early as well there in the scrum. You hear the referee as Hewitt fed the scrum. Of course, we've got a new number 10 on now for Dundee. Neil Patterson, he's wearing no number in the pivotal position, so Gallagher's gone off. Well, they've turned over the ball again, and all credit to Preston Lodge. As the young scrum half Simpson feeds out to Melvin. Melvin just about through the gap, he pops it up. Didn't bounce into the hands of Kinross. Well picked up by Payne. Payne back inside to Kinross. Number 19, Neil Clyde's on hand as well. In goes Duncan Simpson at 18. Out to McDonald, a little chip. It's a foot race between him over the top. And good scrambling defence there. Number 13, Shannon Wilson. But offside at that ruck, so penalty decision. Preston Lodge will run this. You just see this little chip over the top of McDonald, but the covering defence there of Wilson just too strong and too quick.
Come in the back door. Come in the back.
Once again taken quickly to number 21, Patterson. This is on to number 7, David Scott, the open side flanker. He sets up the ball. Preston Lodge try as they may for a try here. Well, that's just the way it goes when you're chasing the game. Just a little knock-on coming in.
Is it a knock-on? Okay, guys, crouch and hold. Wait. No early push. Engage. Take your time. They're both in, yeah, I know. I want it square.
Well, there, Jason Hewitt ready to feed this scrum, and of course, Scott, we have to pick a man of the match this afternoon, and who's that going to be from yourself?
BT man of the match today is undoubtedly Jason Hewitt. He'll win the Veuve Clicquot champagne. He's been outstanding. It's been a great team performance by Dundee, of course. You know, on the wings, you had Gray there who nipped in for the try as well. Hewitt nipped in for that second half try, and really, it's Jason Hewitt's organisation around the scrum, the contact areas, the feed and the distribution of the ball out to Niall Gallagher. It's given him the room. So this afternoon, BT man of the match, that man there, Jason Hewitt.
Well, thoroughly deserved. He's brought all his experience here this afternoon. Of course, scored for the All Blacks on his debut, and he'll be delighted because he scored here today as well in the BT Shield. Line out once again, and won by Dundee. That's been a feature. Preston Lodge just unable to win much clean ball from the line out. As once again they go through Neil Patterson, they open out again. Shannon Wilson to Lamont. Andy Nichols said he had no pace, but he looks fast there. There's an advantage being played. You see the hands held out again as Dundee go direct through the middle. Hewitt once again out to Patterson. That was at his feet, picked up though, however, and set up. The ball's back again to Hewitt. Hewitt to Patterson. Patterson, a little pass by Shannon Wilson. The number 5 there, big Adam Russell's out in the open space once again. Good hand out there, one-handed pass, but just deemed to have gone forward.
Come here, guys.
And Andy, this afternoon, any of these Dundee guys that have caught the eye for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've talked about Jason, but I think we were expecting a big game from Jason Hewitt. He's had all the experience, but Andy Kennedy in the wing, I think he's looked very sharp. He scored a try, he almost got another one under the sticks. But for me, a feature, I think it shows you the gulf of the two sides, is the quality of the subs that Dundee have been able to bring on. Because, I mean, Dundee have been playing most of the game without Alan Brown in the back row, and also Craig Sampson's not fit for this game as well. So, you know, they're missing some of their stars, but they're still able to bring on strength, and that's the difference between Premier 3 and Premier 2.
Yeah, well, as you speak, Preston Lodge never say die as Melvin trundles on towards halfway. He's played well this afternoon, bringing his experience. That's Davy Scott this time, the number 7. But try as they may, they just can't get the final pass away.
Yeah, this was the counter-attacking play. Melvin lined up, linked in there with the fullback Greg Kinross. Kinross went it in, but it was Melvin who picked up. It was great counter-attacking here. I must say that Preston Lodge have not done themselves any discredit at all. They've played well, but it was a loose pass there that's been really their downfall, and they should have released their winger there, John Armstrong.
Well, the strength once again from Dundee. They do the run-around moves, but it was a bit slow. The pass is behind him, and he's caught in midfield. Number 13 being asked to roll away. Yeah. Ball held up, and you hear the referee saying it was a maul. So number 13 there, Shannon Wilson, with his opposite number just coming up off the deck.
This was the bit of play here. Melvin was in with the tackle, and it was that turnover ball that allowed PL with the put in. The man was held up in the tackle.
So a scrummage to Preston Lodge just inside the Dundee half. Young Duncan Simpson, the replacement scrum half to feed. The game, of course, all but over. Not long to go, but Preston Lodge going right to the end as number 8 and captain Ewan Thane feeds young Duncan Simpson, bringing in Kinross. He comes back in field to try and find the sanctuary of his forwards. Once again, Duncan Simpson. Out to number 12, MacDonald. MacDonald on to Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson out the tackle there to Patterson. Patterson out to the winger, John Armstrong. He's played well this afternoon. Stood on his feet well, the young student. As they bring it back once again, the flip inside. Preston Lodge, they're trying to get this try that they deserve. Back again to MacDonald. MacDonald, the prop in the line there. The big number 3, Robert Murdoch. Good hands by him inside to David Scott. David Scott first there is MacDonald. They need quick ball here. 16, Ross Anderson. Back inside to number 17, Bruce Stoddart. He's tackled just short. The blinds on once again if they can get quicker ball. But once again it's slower.
Wait for the mark.
Taken very quickly there. Oh, and it just about went to Greg Kinross. Picked up by Payne. Has he made the line? And a knock forward, and that just sums up this afternoon. They've just been held up short on a few occasions. There's Stuart Payne. Now he's been around the winger at Preston Lodge for years and years. And unlucky for him, it would have been a nice touch, probably in one of his last games to go over at Murrayfield. But there's still a chance as young Duncan Simpson feeds the scrum. Penalty that time for boring up. Quickly taken there by the number 8. Can he get it down? Good defence once again by Dundee. It's fed back out to MacDonald. MacDonald to Melvin. Melvin inside to Kinross. He's over under the posts. And well deserved there for Preston Lodge. Greg Kinross, who's had an excellent game this afternoon, received the pass from Melvin. And well, it's their just deserved.
It was Melvin who just held the ball up the tackle. Kinross went over the line. And a full credit to this PL side. This is the beauty of rugby union at this level. The never say die attitude, the loop around movement there. Kinross between the sticks. And that's full credit to Preston Lodge. They've tried to move the ball, they've counter-attacked all afternoon. They've come up against a very strong, resolute Dundee side who've been very impressive. They, of course, will go on and play in the BT Premiership Division 2. But full credit to PL and that man, the fullback, Kinross.
Well, we've only a couple of minutes left to go now. That's a kick out on the full from Dundee, and the score Dundee High School 27, Preston Lodge former pupils 13, and a great try for them right at the death, Andy.
They deserve it. I mean, it's Kinross has been one of their standout players for me, and it was just good perseverance. I thought this Dundee's defence was going to hold firm, but they deserve totally of that try after all the effort they put into the game.
Well, a scrummage bang on halfway. Young Duncan Simpson to feed. To the number 8, captain's feet. Ewan Thane back to Greg Kinross, the try scorer. He's looking for another. Brings it back up the middle. Picked up once again by number 19, Neil Clyde. A rough character if ever there was, to McDonald. McDonald just couldn't get his pass away. That's Neil Patterson with the no number on his jersey. But it's back inside to Greg Kinross. He finds space, he dances well up the middle. Back again from the young scrum half, Simpson. Simpson out to Graham Patterson, a little nudge over the top. Lamont picks and clears, but there's a penalty once again. The number 8. Offside there, John Vernon. Penalised for offside at that ruck situation, so a penalty.
Well, PL are panting and puffing a little bit, but they must just tap and go. See if they can bring them back in, but they're opting through McDonald. Well, here he is, just quick tap restart.
He does, and sends it out wide again to number 17, Stoddart. 18 this time, the young scrum half. Good hands by Preston Lodge. Clyde in the movement as well. But just coming up against a brick ball once again. But number 8, Ewan Thane, goes in and burrows. McDonald, that was a little bit behind Melvin. Gave him man and ball. He's done well to get that back, although Dundee scramble at the breakdown. The referee once again, Graham Hanna, blows his whistle for the final time. So the 2003 BT Shield winners are Dundee High School. They defeat Preston Lodge by 27 points to 13.
Well, it was a good performance there by Preston Lodge. They can be proud. Gordon Henderson, their coach, he has instilled a bit of belief about this team, a team built with the experience of John Melvin there. And as a result, those youngsters at PL will look forward to many more times like this as they challenge for further honours. But really, you felt it was Dundee whose overall experience, they were more weighty, they were bigger in the tackle, they were bigger up front, and they had the experience behind as well, and the pace on the wings.
Yeah, they just had the key players in the key positions, Scott. You know, Hewitt and Gallagher, they controlled the match, and they had a lot of experience up front. Van der Esch, a lot of 18s, 19s players that have played for Scotland at different levels, and it was just too strong. They had too much knowledge and too much nous. But all credit to Preston Lodge. They played their hearts out. They had a great game this afternoon. I was impressed by Kinross, by Melvin McDonald, by Murray Stewart as well. They've nothing to feel down or disheartened about. They played very well this afternoon. They can hold their heads up high when they go back to Pennypit Park. There's some of the large crowd that's come along this afternoon. And if you ever doubted how much it means to some of these fellas to come and win at Murrayfield, that's what it means to them, whether it's in the bowl, the shield or the cup final itself. And we're going to go down to Iona at trackside, who is the man of the match.
Okay, thanks Jim. Yes, I'm joined by Jason Hewitt, man of the match. Congratulations, a good performance out there, and obviously far too strong for Preston Lodge.
Well, they were tough. It was a tough game, and especially a frenetic 20 minutes or so to start with. But once the forwards managed to cool down and get a bit of control, the job was a lot easier.
I mean, that's it. They seem to have the best of things in the first 10 minutes or so in their backs, but your forwards then got into speed, as it were.
Yeah, it's on occasion like this, it's only 80 minutes, so all form goes out the door, and it's all played on heart, and they were enormous in the first 10 or 15 minutes. It took us a long time to get back into it.
Okay, and obviously just a quick, well, obviously a few words about how pleased you are, first the league, and now this on top of that.
Oh, delighted. To do the double is something really, really special, and it's a tribute to the players and the management and the committee, and there's a fantastic synergy and team spirit at Dundee, and it's just a great reward.
That's brilliant, Jason. Here's a bottle of champagne. Go and join the boys and enjoy. Thank you. Bye.
There goes the captain, the losing captain there, Ewan Thane from Preston Lodge. They're being presented to Bert Duffy. And the young lads, painted faces in the crowd, they'll be disappointed. Some of these guys have played a long time for Preston Lodge. There's some good youngsters in there as well, but they gave it their all this afternoon. Nothing to be disappointed with there. Murray Stewart, the number 10, he played very well. Davy Scott there. Davy Gilliland with the bald head at the back there. All coming up to get their medals. Big Robert Murdoch there. He's been to Murrayfield before with Kelso. There, Greg Ginross, who had a very good game. Stuart Payne, the old campaigner. And there, young John Armstrong. Big John Melvin, who's played. And Neil Clyde, nice touch for him. He's been around for a long time. And now we await the presentation of the shield to Dundee High School. And their captain Tim Parrott will come up and collect the shield. Of course, they get an extra £4,000, Scott, for winning the BT Shield and the BT Division title as well. So an extra bonus for Dundee.
Yeah, this is a special one for the BT, the sponsors of the competition. They put up a bounty, and of course, Watsonians have an opportunity in the final of the BT Cup to win an additional £6,000 on top of a potential prize pot of £15,000 for the winner. So for club rugby, that's a great call.
Well, they're a big hug for the captain, Tim Parrott, Jimmy Gracie, Bert Duffy, the SRU officials there. As Bert Duffy hands over the shield to Tim Parrott, Dundee High School FP, the 2003 BT Shield winners. Here, Big Lamont getting his hands on the shield as well. The only thing about a shield, though, Andy, is you can't put much port or wine in it, can you?
No, but I'm sure there'll be a fantastic party back at Murrayfield this evening. All these boys deserve it. They've just it's been a great season. They've worked very hard. The aim was obviously to get up to Premier 2, and they've done that very well. There's Tom Dimmick as the president, Jerry Tosh behind them. They're all delighted. There's so many. In fact, there's my mum in the background as well. So they've just had a fantastic season, combination with a good performance today, and it's just a great finish to the season. Win the Premiership last week, win Premiership 3 last week, and win the BT Shield this week.
Yeah, excellent for them. Okay, we're going to go back down to touchside, where Iona has the losing captain of Preston Lodge, Ewan Thane.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, Ewan, obviously commiserations, but you did stick in there right to the end.
We certainly did. I'm absolutely shattered, and it's great that we could at least leave with a try. I think we'd been awfully disappointed if we couldn't at least got that.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, you started so strongly, your backs were out there and kept trying all the way through, but that defence was too strong.
It was. I think a bit of indiscipline at the end of the first half really cost us. 2 tries just before half-time, and against such a big Dundee side, we're always struggling to come back.
And it was those tries, I suppose, that finished it off, wasn't it?
It was. We got 2 semi-unlucky tries at the end of the first half, and really we couldn't come back from that. Tries we might.
And it was that nice, at least nice to see Greg Kinross crossing at the end there.
Yeah, fantastic for him, and I'm sure Stuart Payne will also be glad because he's got him in this week for first try.
Okay, well, Commissioner